Hell yeah, we live in effect.
Cool.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Trying to see if we can see the
Dude, what the fuck?
The way I'm sitting, man, I feel like one of my butt cheeks is gonna fall asleep. Just one side.
Why you leaning?
I don't know.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I almost died yesterday, I forgot to tell you.
What happened?
Choked on the sunflower seed.
You got a small ass throat.
God damn. That's a good thing, ain't it?
You say so, dog. I mean, I'm not gonna choke on a seed,
Oh,
but
your throat's pretty wide?
Got him!
I was at work and I was
you on your PE or what?
Yeah, I was cracking sunflower seeds, just driving on my tugger. And I took a sniff.
Oh, you tried.
And it shot to the back of my throat. Pow!
like top.
What's going on? What's going on, late night family? We are back in the building,
Yup.
coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. Man, I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew. To the left is my co-host,
JR, big arm.
Man, what's up with you, big arm?
You already know, dog. New lights.
You see the new lights? Yeah, what do y'all think?
Yeah, let
Our
us
old
know.
lights burnt out on us, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I think you had a power surge.
It must have been because I came to check the plug and it was all burnt on the inside.
Yeah, so it had to have been a power surge. But
And so
you did good, nephew, on buying these lights. You called me today at lunch and you said, "What about these?" I'm like, "Well, it look okay, but
we
I
wouldn't know
wasn't
what to tear
there."
up. Yeah.
So when I got here, I saw them and I had my doubts, man, but I like them.
I think I like them too, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all like the setup for these lights?
Yeah.
Man, we actually have a new setup coming pretty soon, man. I think me and Uncle were talking about we're going to transition away from the table. We're going to get some real chairs.
Yeah.
A real, like a chill podcast setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we may change up the
background.
posters, everything.
Yeah, we might change the background. Man, we're always just trying to make things better for y'all, man. Things that easier on the eyes, just something cool to look at. You know what I mean? But, man, guys.
There's not too much things cooler than Lil Wayne and Tupac. But,
Yeah. Facts. Facts. But we're
still.
going to make it look cool for y'all, man. But guys, man, thank y'all for tuning in for another exciting episode, y'all. It's been 2 weeks, so we're glad to see y'all again.
Right.
Man, if this is y'all's first time joining the Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew podcast, we just want to say welcome to the Late Night family, and we hope you enjoy your time with us. And if you do enjoy your time with us, do us a favor, hit that follow button wherever you're watching your podcast at. That'd be Spotify, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're on all platforms. So just check out all our other episodes, man. We got a lot of episodes online so y'all can binge watch us. Tell us what y'all think, and if y'all enjoy us, man, stick with us, man, because we got a lot more coming.
Most definitely.
Especially for our YouTube gang out there. Everybody watching on YouTube. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you enjoy your time with us, hit that subscribe button for us, guys. And if you are subscribed and haven't done it yet, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a video, guys. And that's every 2 weeks on Friday. Y'all, today we have an exciting episode, so y'all better strap in.
Come on.
We got a creepypasta for y'all. And without further ado, y'all, let's jump into today's episode.
Let's go, nephew. I know you had said creepypasta when I talked to you earlier today, but
Yes.
of course I never know what story or what storyline or nothing. You know, I just
Yes.
know that I come in and am I breaking out?
No, you're good.
And you never seem not to amaze me. You know what I'm saying?
Dog, I had to dig deep. I had to dig deep for this one, dog. Like
The archives.
I had to dig deep for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
story. So today, y'all, I have a creepypasta. It's actually a Reddit story. For those of y'all who are into this kind of thing, y'all know Reddit has some really good
Man.
stories. If y'all go to the Reddit thread No Sleep, that's where they have a lot of good stories. So y'all take a deep dive in there, man, if y'all like stories like this. But today's story, oh my goodness, dude. What would you do if the woman you've been married to for a long time started acting very strange?
Like the ones I had before, or
And not... Now, for
Just
real,
kidding, just
he said,
kidding,
like all the
just
other
kidding.
ones? Yeah, he said, I done had a lot of past.
Yeah.
Now, so imagine you've been married for many years,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about cheating.
Right.
Something spiritual going on.
Like spiritually Jesus or
Oh, no.
or spiritually haunted?
Something don't need to be here. Today's story is called My Wife Has Been Peeking at Me from Around Corners and Behind Furniture. It's gone from weird to terrifying.
Damn, so from weird is crazy because you have like, what you doing, girl?
Girl, what you doing? Get out from behind that couch.
Yeah, but
My wife Lynn and I have been together for 6 years and married for 11 months. Our entire history together has been very normal, and never once have I noticed any weird behaviors or any red flags. I can't stress enough how out of character this whole thing is for her. See, Lynn is very kind, intelligent, and thoughtful. She's always been the no-nonsense type of person. Being childish or trying to scare me is not something she normally do. She doesn't even like watching horror movies. See, when we first started dating, she agreed to watch The Shining with me because she knew how much I loved horror. She was so scared that she didn't even make it through half of the movie before we had to turn it off. She isn't into anything creepy and has never been into pranks. It's not just her cup of tea. And that's fine, but that's what's so strange about this. It's just so unlike her. I should also add that she just has never had any mental health issues, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't run in her family. I know some people are able to hide their mental health problems, but in the 6 years we've been together, I think I've seen some sort of sign. 2 months ago, I was in the kitchen making myself some coffee before work. I was running a bit late that morning and knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Dunkin' Donuts for my usual morning fix. So I took a sip of my coffee as I hurried down the hall towards the front door when I happened to notice Lynn was peeking at me from around the corner ahead of me. I could only see her eyes and a strand of her long dark hair hanging against the wall. The rest of my body was concealed behind the corner, and I nearly spilled my coffee when I saw her. I did burn the shit out of my lips. "Geez, Lynn," I said, wiping a few drops of coffee from my mouth. "You scared the shit out of me." She immediately popped out of view like a little kid that had been caught. I heard her scurry off towards the living room, and by the time I got to the front door, she was already out of sight. It was really weird and just totally out of character for her, like I said, but I also found it kind of funny that she was being more playful and a little less serious. I shouted that I loved her and called her a weirdo as I shut the door behind me. I heard her laughing. Her behavior was a bit odd, but it certainly wasn't something to call a priest over.
right.
I forgot it by about lunch, and by the time I got home, she was her normal self. I didn't bring it up, and neither did she. And life went on. The next incident happened 3 days later. It was around 2 a.m., and I had woken up to get a glass of water. And I was standing at the kitchen island, jug of water in hand, when I felt a strong feeling that I was being watched. For whatever reason, I looked down to the floor, and I saw my wife's smiling face staring back. She was peeking at me from the other side of the island, staring up at me with wide, unblinking eyes and grinning like the Cheshire Cat. I screamed. I'll admit it, not out of irritation, but fear. For some reason at that moment, I was so scared.
That's crazy.
At the sound of my scream, Lynn scuttled backwards out of view, her hands and feet smacking the tile floor as she hurried out of the kitchen on all fours. I didn't run after her or even yell after her. I just stood there frozen in shock, wondering what the hell had possessed her to do that. It took me a little longer than I admit to go back upstairs, but I eventually did. When I got to our bedroom, Lynn was lying on her side asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stood there for a while watching her breathing to be sure she was really asleep. I had the feeling she might jump out at me the moment I got into bed, but she didn't. I climbed into bed, and she didn't even move. Her breathing was soft and deep, and I was starting to wonder if I had dreamt the whole thing. The next morning, I waited for her to come down for coffee, and after handing her a mug and kissing her cheek, I decided to ask her about it. "What was that about last night?" I asked, keeping my tone light so I didn't offend or embarrass her. She frowned over her cup of coffee, shaking her head like she had no clue what I was referring to. "You were peeking at me again from over there," I said, pointing toward the spot on the floor by the kitchen island. She followed my gaze, and when she looked back at me, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that I couldn't help but join her. "You creep me the hell out sometimes, you know that?" I said. She giggled and set her cup on the counter and wrapped her arms around my neck. "You creep me out all the time, so I guess we're even," she teased. We said our goodbyes and left for work, and as I drove, I kept thinking about how creepy it had been, seeing her grinning at me from behind the island like that. The sounds her hands made on the floor as she crawled away.
It's crazy.
I told myself she was just trying to be silly, just trying to join me in my love of all things horror, but I mean, it's not like I was afraid of her, but it still didn't sit right with me. I started seeing her peeking at me more and more. Sometimes she'd be peeking out from behind the couch or living room curtains, or once she even managed to get inside her grandmother's old trunk that sits at the front of our bed.
What?
I might not have even known she was there at all had the trunk's old hinges not gave her away. She had the lid propped up just enough so that only half of her face peeked through. She'd been grinning like an excited toddler. It was unnerving. I didn't even know what to say to her. All I could do was stare. When I finally found my voice, I asked her why on earth was she doing this. She didn't answer, but she slowly closed the lid, shutting herself inside the trunk. I just walked away feeling disturbed. I didn't understand why she was doing it, but it clearly made her happy. So
Right.
I just hoped that she would tire of this game quickly. Lynn didn't peek at me for the next 2 weeks. I started to think that she was done with her weird prank, and I was relieved. We were watching a show on Netflix one night, and I jokingly said that I hadn't seen her peeking at me lately and that she must have given up on her spy game. She looked up at me with a small smile and said, "Maybe I've just gotten better at it."
Oh.
I didn't say anything, but I wondered whether or not she was joking. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about what she said. Was she still peeking at me when I wasn't looking, and had I just not noticed? And if so, what the hell is she getting out of this? I started to feel paranoid, constantly checking whether she was watching from around the corner or behind a door. I was jumpy whenever I was home and she wasn't in full view of me. I felt stupid and a little crazy. But after a few weeks without another incident, I began to relax. I stopped checking behind furniture and walls and told myself that it's just a bad memory. Then a few days ago, things got so much worse. Lynn left to go to a friend's, and I lounged on the couch and played a couple games on my laptop. Around 9 p.m., I hopped in the shower, and as I was washing the soap from my hair, I felt that awful feeling that I was being watched. I slowly opened my eyes and almost had a heart attack. Lynn was peeking from behind the shower curtain, her entire head stretched into the shower, leaving just her body outside. Her long dark hair hung against the curtain, the ends dripping with water. Her mouth hung open in a terrible grin, eyes wide and red as if she hadn't blinked in a while. I screamed and jumped back against the wall. She didn't move, nor did her smile waver. Her makeup ran down her cheeks in 2 black streaks. She looked giddy and completely deranged. I was so terrified. We stood like that for a few moments, neither one of us saying a word. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slowly pulled her head back out of the shower, and I watched her blurry figure through the curtain as she moved backwards towards the bathroom door.
It's insane.
A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut, hard enough to rattle the mirror. I screamed again and jumped out of the shower to lock the door. I stayed inside the bathroom for over an hour. Maybe I overreacted to some of you, but joke or not, I wasn't going to put up with this crazy shit anymore.
Yeah.
This is what I kept telling myself as I paced in the bathroom, stopping to listen at the door every few minutes. Suddenly, I heard a muffled sound, and I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen. I couldn't hear anything, but I envisioned Lynn standing on the other side of the door, giggling at her joke. I felt a surge of anger. I was beyond pissed at being made to feel scared in my own house and made to hide in the bathroom for an hour, all for what? Some joke? If it was a joke, it was an awful one. "What the hell, Lynn?" I snapped. "This shit's getting really annoying, man." I waited for her to apologize or to call me a jerk, but instead, I heard a faint moan. So quiet, I wondered if I'd heard it at all, and then complete silence. "Lynn?" I called out, not even being able to hide the sickness in my voice. I got no response, just my own heavy breathing. "I swear to God, just stop it, Lynn," I yelled, pounding my fist on the door. I waited for her to cuss me out, something I would expect from me talking to her like that. I never screamed at her before, but there was nothing, just the occasional drip from the shower head. I won't deny that I was scared, too afraid to open the damn door and face my own wife. I waited another 30 minutes or so, which feels like a lifetime when you're scared, but finally I decided I wasn't going to spend the night hiding in my bathroom. So I got down on my knees and peered under the door. I almost expected to see her face peeking back at me, but thankfully it didn't. I could see straight down the hallway to the top of the stairs, but no Lynn. I didn't know if I'd be happy about that or not. I looked for a few minutes waiting to see her head pop up over the top step, but it never came. I stood up, my hand hovering above the door, mentally preparing myself to open it. I slowly turned the lock with shaky fingers and was about to yank it open when I heard a sound that still makes me feel nauseous when I think about it. A moan louder than before, but this time I was able to tell just where it was coming from. I turned my head to the closet door as if in slow motion and locked my eyes with my wife, who was peeking out from me from the slight gap of the closet. Her eyes were still wide as ever and her mouth was hanging open in the most grotesque gaping smile I'd ever seen. I didn't even scream, I was too scared for that. Her hands were clasped to her chest, body trembling with sheer delight as if she could barely contain her excitement. A short, raspy moan bubbled up from her throat, deep and raw, sending a shiver through my entire body. Somehow I found the ability to pull the bathroom door open and ran as fast as I could, all the way down the steps, snagging my keys and phone from the table in the living room before running outside to my car. I could hear her shrill laughter behind me, but I didn't hear her getting closer. I didn't bother shutting the front door. I drove away from the house faster than I legally should have, shivering the entire time, either from fear or the cold, and maybe a little bit of both, but I hadn't grabbed a coat or even a pair of shoes. I was still in my boxers and my hair was still damp. I drove straight to my brother Chris's house about 40 minutes away, ignoring any and every call and text I got. I didn't check my phone until I was safely parked in my brother's driveway. Lynn had called me 4 times and sent a flurry of texts, all wondering where I'd gone and why I left like that. I threw my phone at the dash in a rage, furious at her nonchalant attitude. My brother and his wife were surprised to see me, especially dressed in just a pair of boxers, but told me to stay as long as I needed. Chris lent me some clothes and asked me what happened. I told him Lynn and I had a fight, but didn't get into the details. I didn't want him to think that I was overreacting, leaving my wife over a prank, even if it was a strange one. I mean, I encouraged her for years to lighten up instead of being so serious all the time. I had wanted her to relax and loosen up, but this was definitely not what I had in mind. I tried to sleep on that sofa, but my brain wouldn't let me sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lynn's face staring at me from inside of the closet.
Crazy.
Knowing she'd been in there with me the entire time made my skin crawl. She never left the bathroom at all. Instead, she slipped inside the closet and slammed the bathroom door shut to fool me. The mere thought of going back home gave me anxiety. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Chris ended up giving me sleeping pills so I was able to get a little rest, and my sleep was filled with terrible dreams, all of Lynn's smiling face. I woke up just as the sun started to rise. My sore body ached from the sofa, and I felt drained. I knew I'd have to call Lynn at some point, but I didn't know what to say to her. I wouldn't be going home unless she gave me her word that she'd never do any more creepy shit.
Yeah.
I just wanted my wife back. Her normal, serious self never looked so good to me. I was contemplating calling her and telling her that when that familiar feeling came over me, that I was being watched.
What?
I was staring at the ceiling, my heart in my throat. I didn't want to look away, but the longer I ignored the feeling, the worse it got. My eyes drifted away from the ceiling almost on their own. Her face was pressed up against the window beside the couch, staring down at me with that same gaping smile. Drool dribbled down her lips, leaving 2 long streaks down the glass. I didn't know how long she'd been there, but something told me she'd been there quite a while, possibly all night. I didn't bother screaming, though I was afraid anger trumped any fear I felt at that moment. I jumped up from the couch and pounded my palm against the glass. "Lynn, are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? Just go home," I shouted. "Now!" She didn't move, and her ghastly expression never changed. If anything, her smile only grew, as if she had never been more elated. I could hear Chris and his wife moving around upstairs, as if Lynn could hear them from her place outside. Her head twitched slightly in that direction, and she began to close her mouth slowly. Chris called my name from upstairs, obviously concerned. I turned to see him and his wife Rebecca hurrying down the steps. When I turned back to the window, Lynn was gone. The only sign she had been there at all was the 2 streaks of drool still dripping down the glass. I tried explaining to Chris and Rebecca about waking up to see Lynn watching me through their window. They were skeptical. Who wouldn't be? Chris and I went outside to the spot in front of the window, but there were no footprints in the dirt, just a slight indent. Animal probably, Chris guessed, and I didn't argue. He and Rebecca assumed I dreamt the entire episode, but they didn't understand and I was too tired to explain it to them. I called out of work that day and turned my cell phone off. I didn't want to face Lynn. Just talking to her was too much for me at that point. I really started to believe something was irreversibly wrong with her, that no matter what promises she made, we'd never be the same again. The thought saddened me to my core and I cried most of the morning. By noon, I figured I was ready to go confront her. Give her one last chance to explain herself. I could at least give her that after 6 years,
Right.
I told myself. I turned my phone on and saw dozens of texts she had sent, all from a seemingly concerned wife. Can we talk? I love you. Please call me. I'm really worried. Can you answer? Just come home. And more of the same, all texts telling me that she loved me and she wanted me home, how worried she was, not a damn one addressing the crazy shit she just pulled.
Right.
Like she hadn't been acting like a character from a Stephen King book. Even her texts were different. She normally texted novels just to tell me to pick up a loaf of bread. You'd think she'd have more to say to me after all her bizarre shenanigans. I know it probably seems childish to some of you who are miles away from the situation, but if you saw the way Lynn had looked at me, how she scampered away on all fours like some wild animal, grinning at me from inside the closet like a lunatic, then I think you'd find my reaction was well warranted.
I can imagine.
I ended up staying with Chris and Rebecca for another night. I didn't wake up yesterday until afternoon, and thankfully I didn't see Lynn's face watching me through the window. I don't want to pry because it's not my place, but is this fight something that can be mended? Rebecca asked. She'd made up both a sandwich for lunch, and I knew she wanted to breach the subject without seeming to be nosy.
Right.
I don't know, she's a different person, I said, choosing my words carefully. I still wasn't ready for her or Chris to know the full extent of the batshit craziness I had been dealing with. People change, Ben, but she's still the same woman you married. Maybe you just both need to talk through your issues. Whatever's going on, I'm sure it can be fixed, she said. I think it's beyond that now. I don't think talking would help. I just don't trust her. I said. The words stung in my heart. I missed and loved my wife, but how could I live with someone like that? Living in constant fear didn't sound too appealing.
Right.
Lynn loves you. She has to be absolutely crushed. I don't know about that, I said. Well, she certainly seemed like it to me. I've never seen her so upset. Very much unlike the Lynn I know, Rebecca said, shaking her head sadly. It took a full minute for her words to really sink in, and when they did, I felt dread warming its way through my skin. Wait. What do you mean you saw her? You saw Lynn? I asked, my mouth suddenly dry. Rebecca nodded casually as if the fact wasn't nightmare fuel. Maybe for her it wasn't. She stopped by this morning just after Chris left for work. She said she cleaned the plates from the table. I didn't see her car though. Maybe she took an Uber or something. Beck, what did she say? Did she come inside? I asked, sweat starting to break out on my forehead.
Man.
I began looking around, examining corners as though a predator lurked behind them. No, she just asked if you were awake yet, and I said that you weren't. I asked if she wanted me to wake you, but she said no, just said to let you sleep. She said she washed the dishes. That's all. She didn't say anything else? I asked. No, she looked awful though, like she hadn't slept in days. I think you should call her. I got up from the table and thanked Rebecca for lunch. I felt a little bit better at the knowledge though, at least she hadn't come inside. Still, I needed to double check that the doors were locked.
Right.
I sat for a while trying to figure out what to do next. I didn't want to go home, but I felt that I owed it to Lynn to help her if I could. Hadn't I sworn an oath to love and honor her through sickness and in health? Clearly, she was very sick. If she was sick, which I truly believe she was, I had to try and get her the help she needed, but I didn't even know where to start. I didn't want to call the police, and besides, what the hell was I going to tell them? That my wife was peeking at me? That she was being creepy? As bizarre as she had been,
Right.
she still hadn't committed any crime.
Right.
Not yet, anyway. The police would have probably said that I was overreacting, but this wasn't some prank. It felt wrong. Dangerous even, like something sinister lurked behind her smile. I know as her husband, and I'm well within my rights to have her committed, but what if she simply acted normal in their presence? She's obviously been able to fool Rebecca into thinking that she was just a concerned wife.
Right.
As long as the doctors didn't find her a danger to herself or others, they'd have no choice but to release her after 72 hours. I felt lost and overwhelmed. So I did what any husband in my position would do. I called her mother. I didn't want to believe me, but her mother, Marianne, and I were never on the best of terms. We've never fought or anything like that. She just wasn't a very warm person and wasn't really easy to get along with. She hardly ever smiled, and when she did, only her lips would move into a thin-lipped smile,
Right.
leaving her eyes as blank as before. She gave off this aura that felt like she was permanently on the offensive. I've only met her twice, and both times were such short visits, I got the impression she didn't approve of me for her daughter. Lynn always ushered us out quickly as she didn't want me to feel uncomfortable which I was grateful for, but being in her mother's company felt almost unbearable,
Right.
like walking on glass. I was glad when we moved 3 states away, so we didn't have to see her often. I was happy to avoid the woman, but I needed her help. I really didn't want to talk to her at all, but I had to talk to someone, and someone who knew Lynn better than I did. So I grit my teeth and I did what I had to. Yes, she answered, already sounding irritated. Marianne, it's me, Ben. Do you have a minute to talk? I asked. I could hear her cluck her tongue in irritation. I'm in the middle of writing some checks, but if you insist, I suppose I can spare a moment. What is it that you want to discuss, Benjamin? She said coldly. It's about Lynn. She's been acting strangely, and I was wondering if you had any idea whether there was something. I was quickly interrupted. It's a bit difficult to follow your rambling, Benjamin. What is it that you want from me? She asked as I could almost see her standing there in her thin sweater and slacks, tapping her fingernails impatiently on the table. I wanted to know if you've ever noticed any odd behavior or possibly any mental health issues. There was a long, uncomfortable pause that I couldn't tell was because she was just thinking or something else. Finally, after a few seconds, she spoke. I'm not sure if this is one of your jokes, Benjamin, but if so, I don't find the humor in it. Now, I do have business to attend to, as I've said, so if you don't mind, she said before I cut her off before she can get rid of me. Marianne, it's not a joke. I'm sincerely concerned about Lynn's mental health. Her behavior has been very erratic lately. I'm very worried about her, and I figured as her mother, you would be as well, I said, my frustration evident in my voice. If you're truly concerned, then I suggest you get the help professionals involved. I don't know what you expect of me, she snapped. I could tell she was seconds away from hanging up for some reason. I was desperate not to let her. I had that feeling that she knew a lot more than she was letting on.
Yeah.
Please, if not for me, do it for Lynn, I tried. I heard a faint, shaky intake of breath as she was trying to hold her steely persona together, but failing. Marianne, what's wrong? Benjamin, I don't know what to tell you. My only advice would be to seek professional help. Do not call here again. Goodbye. I tried to call out, but she hung up. I tried to wrap my head around the call and her refusal to help me. Even if she didn't like me, why wouldn't she want to help her own daughter? I couldn't understand that.
Yep.
I tried to replay the conversation, desperate to find something I missed. After a while, I almost gave up until I remembered her last words to me. Seek professional help. She said those words with a bit of urgency. I could have just been grasping at straws, but no. I was sure her voice had changed over so slightly when she said that, as if they were very important. What had she meant? I assumed she'd been referring to medical professionals, but maybe she was referring to someone else, someone that she didn't, for some reason, feel comfortable saying directly. Or maybe I was just desperate. I waited for Chris to get home, and after a very long and exhausting conversation with him and Rebecca, I convinced him that Lynn truly needed psychiatric help. I didn't tell them everything I wasn't prepared to go into yet, but I told them about one last encounter, how she'd hidden in the bathroom, peeking at me from the closet. They were obviously shocked, but thankfully they believed me. They too just wanted to help her. Right. Still, they didn't think it was all that serious. Weird, maybe, but not dangerous. They had just kept saying that Lynn had to been playing some kind of weird joke. Maybe for YouTube, Rebecca offered, if only half-heartedly. Chris didn't think we should involve the police just yet. He offered instead to go with me, and I really readily accepted. He reasoned that calmly talking to her, trying to coax her into going willingly was the best recourse. I agreed to do it his way. At least I wouldn't be going into that house alone.
Right.
We drove over this morning just after breakfast. There was no way I was going at night. When we pulled into the driveway, my stomach began to do somersaults. Her car wasn't there, but still, I didn't let my guard down. The front door was ajar, and for a split second, I thought we'd see her eyes staring through the gap. I was shaking and starting to sweat. Chris, however, was fine. He waited for me to open the door, his hands in his pockets like he was going on a freaking stroll through the park. I envied his ignorance. I pushed the door open and was immediately hit with the stench of rot.
What?
Chris smelled it too, and he walked in the house behind me with his nose scrunched up. What do you guys use to clean the floors around here?
That's
shit?
Crazy.
Chris mumbled. Shut up, I said, my eyes darting around for any signs of Lynn. The house was deadly quiet and dark, despite being 10 in the morning. All the curtains were closed up tight, refusing to allow any sunlight inside. If I hadn't left it just 2 days prior, I'd have thought the house to be abandoned. We moved through each room. We moved through each room, carefully checking any place that she might hide, occasionally calling her name. Why the hell were you looking under the couch for? Chris asked eventually. Aren't we looking for your wife? He was looking at me like I was a moron. Let's just go upstairs, I whispered. He shook his head but followed up the stairs to check the bathroom and spare bedroom. On the way up, my shoes crunched over a piece of glass that looked to be littered over a few of the steps. I noticed that one of Lynn and my wedding portraits that hung on the wall along the staircase had been smashed.
Oh, dang.
The frame hung crookedly and all the glass removed. I stared at the picture, a lump forming in my throat. We had taken the photo just after leaving the church, after saying our vows. She looked so beautiful in her white gown. I looked at Lynn's beautiful face. I never dreamed her face would ever be a source of terror for me. We climbed the rest of the steps and checked the spare bedroom, but it looked completely untouched. I was hesitant to go into the bathroom, my fear from that night coming back to me all at once. Chris noticed and offered to go in by himself, but I couldn't let him do that.
Right.
So we walked in together, checking the closet and the shower. The bathroom looked as if it hadn't been touched since the night I left. I don't think she's here, Ben. Why don't you pack some clothes and we'll try to come back tomorrow or something, Chris said. I nodded and went into our bedroom and shoved some clothes into a duffel bag. When I checked inside our closet, I came across the source of the smell and gagged. Chris took one look and lost all color in his face. He had to go stand by the stairs to get away from the sight and smell.
Dang.
I gazed down in shock of what lay inside my bedroom closet. Soaking into the rug were at least a dozen eyeballs, all carefully laid out in pairs. Some were as large as a quarter, while others were as tiny as a marble. I stared down at the eyes she's collected from all small animals, and I wondered how she'd gotten them.
That's crazy.
And shuddered at the thought. Man, I thought I had it bad with Becca's shoe addiction.
Yeah.
But damn, your wife's in here collecting eyeballs, Chris said. Ben, I think we should go, he called from the hall.
Hell yeah.
I'm starting to get nauseous. All right, I grabbed my duffel and shut the closet door on my new nightmare. I stepped out into the hall and took a deep breath of fresh air. I could taste the rot on my tongue and I couldn't help but gag. Who the hell lines up eyeballs in their closet like that? Chris mumbled. I tried to tell you she needed help, I said. She doesn't need help, Ben. She needs a damn exorcist. You coming or what? I can't stand the smell His words died in his throat and his eyes grew wide with fear. I didn't ask him why because I could feel it. Someone was watching me, and I didn't think it was the eyes in the closet. I turned around, my eyes slowly scanning the bedroom. Christ, I whispered as I finally saw what we'd missed. Under the bed, curled on her side, watching us with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning, was my wife. She held her hands together just under her chin, and they were shaking eagerly. Now that she knew that she'd been found, I could hear the quiet noises she was making, a sort of hiccuping sound in her throat, as if the excitement was just too much for her. It was unnerving to say the least, the wide eyes and that same huge smile. Everything in me told me to run, but I forced it away. This was my wife. No matter how twisted she was still the woman I married. I had to help her. Lynn, I said softly. She didn't respond, but her head bobbed back and forth in two quick little movements as if she were nodding. Baby, I just want to help, okay? Can you let me do that? I had taken a single step forward, approaching her like some kind of dangerous animal. I love you, Lynn, I said softly, taking another step closer. She let a tiny moan escape her wide open mouth, and I had to resist the urge to run. Her shoulders were starting to quiver, and her eyes grew as large as saucers. I crouched down so I could see her better and immediately saw the blood. Her hands were covered in it. They trembled more the closer I got, as if she was barely able to contain herself. Lynn, are you hurt? You're bleeding, I said. She bobbed her head again, her bloody fingers moving up and down as if they were playing an invisible piano. They occasionally grazed her chin, leaving smears of blood on her skin. I wanted to recoil in disgust. The smell that was coming off of her was revolting. I could feel the vomit trying to climb up my throat. Her lips were dry and stretched thin, blood seeping between the cracks. I knew she wouldn't come out on her own, but I didn't want to leave her in the state she was in. I scooted closer and reached out to her. The excited hiccuping sounds got louder and her hands shook, fingers flexing. It was then that I could see the blood oozing from in between her fingers. Oh my God, Lynn, you're bleeding, I said. Instinctively, I reached out to take her hand, but before I could even touch her, her hand sprang out towards me. A sharp pain shot through my arm as I fell back on my ass. My arm burned and I could see the blood dripping down into the carpet. I looked at her in shock and saw her grinning madly, her fingers clutching a large shard of glass. Are you all right in there? Chris asked from behind me. I turned my head slightly and nodded to him, cradling my arm to my chest. When I turned back to face Lynn, I saw that her focus had shifted. She wasn't looking at me anymore, and she wasn't smiling anymore either. She was staring past at me. Her eyes were glaring at Chris, the way a hungry lion might stare at an antelope. Her mouth was still hanging open, but it was twisted into a snarl. I got to my feet and began walking backwards down the hall, afraid to take my eyes off of her. Are you bleeding, Chris? Are you bleeding? Chris asked. The moment the words left his mouth, Lynn started, fast scooting out from under the bed, the glass shard still in her fist. Chris, run, go, I yelled. He must have been too afraid to move because a second later, I felt my back bump into him. He was still standing at the top of the stairs, staring at the horror that was my wife. Lynn had crawled completely out from under the bed and stood in the bedroom doorway. Her face twisted in rage. Her whole body was visibly tense, blood ran down her fingers and onto the floor. Jesus, Lynn, Chris said. You were playing hide and seek? I reached back and pushed him towards the steps. Move your ass, Chris, I said as quietly but as firmly as I could. Lynn bobbed her head in fast, sharp motions and began to grin, stretching her mouth open wider and wider so their chin seemed to touch her chest. I heard Chris mutter a prayer and then he was running down the stairs. I stood at the top of the steps, stuck between the love for a woman who clearly needed help and self-preservation. I only want to help, I said, choking back tears. Her eyes focused on me once again as she slowly lifted the glass, holding it out in front of her. And then she started to sprint towards me, grinning with utter excitement. Thankfully, my body took over and I flew down the stairs, skipping 2 or 3 at a time. I made it to the front door before I felt her leap onto my back, wrapping her arms around my neck, her open mouth next to my ear so that I could hear those terrible hiccuping sounds up close. I shook her off from me, knocking her to the floor. I felt a searing pain in my back as she went, but I tore open the front door and bolted to my car. Chris was standing in the front yard talking on the phone with the police. I didn't say a word. I just ran to my car and jumped in. Chris took the hint and followed me, still on the line with 911. I watched the rearview mirror, sure I'd see her there running after us, but I never did. I went straight to the ER and got 11 stitches in my arm and 3 on my back.
That's crazy.
The police asked a lot of questions and went back to the house to do a search, but of course Lynn wasn't there. They advised me to stay with a friend or a relative for a while and file a restraining order as soon as I could, but none of those things would matter. Somehow I just knew. I dropped Chris off at home and went to a motel an hour away. I wanted to put as much distance between me and Lynn as I could. This is where I've been for the last 4 hours. I thought maybe the police would find her. Maybe they'd get her the help she desperately needs. But now, I don't think so. Because 40 minutes ago, I got a text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. I found you. And a picture attached. The picture was dark and grainy, but I instantly knew what it was. There was no mistaking my wife's eye. I started typing this out immediately after, but I don't know what to do. I'm alone and scared, and I can't help but feel that I'm being watched.
That's crazy, dog. That's crazy, right? So immediately I'm thinking The Ring.
Like the image of it?
Yeah, the image. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, dude. Like
not her coming out the TV or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or walking backwards, but having
just
the look
image of her face.
Yeah, having the look of hair just in your face and
the mouth wide open.
Just like, can you imagine, dude?
Dog,
I think I'm braver than him. I probably would have punched her, dog.
What if you threw a punch and she just caught it like this?
Man.
Oh, it's over, dog.
Take me.
It's a take me with you. Just take me.
I'll be outside. What are you waiting for?
Dog, that's scary, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean,
you gotta think, bro.
This story's not far fetched, nephew.
I mean, it's not.
I mean, The Conjuring.
Yeah, you're right.
What are their names?
Like Insidious, like. Dog, could you imagine? See, because immediately I'm like, she's possessed, dog. Like, that's what I get. I get a possession story.
But what thrill? I think I'd get a thrill of scaring people, like, you know.
Yeah.
But to take it to that extreme, she tried to kill him.
She tried to kill him, dog.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. It's got to be a possession, man.
That's what I mean.
But smile?
Like smile? Oh, man.
Never?
Could it just be in his head? That I didn't think about that. Could it just be in his head? Maybe everybody around him is like, don't see her like that, but he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
You know, I mean, because, I mean, I sometimes you feel like, hey, you know, I mean, I'm not saying your spouse or your relative, but sometimes you're like, man, I don't like this cat, man. I don't like the way he looks at me, or this female, you know, gives me the chills, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've all been there where we're like, just felt somebody just looking at you, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. The feeling of being watched, dog.
You know, and like you, see, like you know, you got lots of hair, and you shampoo, dog. You probably close your eyes.
Hell yeah, dude, dog. Shit.
So when you,
hey, it's
then like him, just to, you know, rinse his head,
like you rinse off and boom, your wife is there, wide
like
mouth.
That.
Oh, dog.
I mean, that deserves a punch. You know, not just a
boom.
No, you know, I'm not gonna just jump up.
And dog, to make it worse, he jumped back and they just stared at each other. She wasn't moving.
Yeah, she didn't move.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'd have been like, yeah, it's time for you to go. I mean, but he can't get away.
He can't get away from her. She's finding him. Why? What is the purpose of her? What is she doing? What's her goal? To kill him?
Well, scare the shit out of him for sure, like he said.
I think it's deeper than that, dog. I mean, you got to think, bro. Like, man, and bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's a dumb fear, but dog, could you imagine, like, literally, bro, like the Exorcist type, or could you imagine laying in bed, dude? That's so scary to me. Like in horror movies, the scariest thing I can think of is you laying in bed, and then like you turn around to your wife and boom, just a crazy face,
well,
dog.
see, well, you know, you and I both, you know, we watch horror and stuff like that. So,
oh yeah.
I think the worst feeling in the world is when you can't control,
like the scenario,
like the scenario, the like your wife. You know, we all think that we're masculine. You know, we're alpha omegas or whatever when it comes to females.
Yeah,
when you're married, and then something like this happens, you don't want to punk out, but at the same time, it's like
what can you do, dog?
It's bothersome, dog. I'm like, because.
Like, imagine just watching TV.
I don't know. I don't know if. I don't know what I would do. I think. I don't know, dude. I just don't.
It's hard to say what you would do because imagine you just being at your crib, bro, literally watching TV.
But at the same time,
you look over.
I don't want to say too much and say.
And your wife,
they're gonna be like, oh, this dude's you know, where he beats his wife and stuff, you know. Because, I mean, sometimes when it goes too far, it's too far. You know, a joke is a joke. You know, I know we watch TikTok all the time, and, you know, you know, people get
pranking each other is one thing. Like, I do it to my wife all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't do it on purpose. Like, my wife naturally just be jumping.
Yeah, sometimes,
like,
too, sometimes she's be like, oh, grandpa, I'm like.
Yeah, like, I walk in, I'm like, babe. She'll be like, hey,
yeah, because they're, you know, our nature is just to be in deep thought, whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
We don't expect to see something like that.
we don't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why out of the ordinary stuff like that, and you can feel it, dog. You know when people are like watching you, bro.
Yeah, you can.
Like I mean, you've been in ghost houses.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You get that feeling that somebody's watching you, dog.
Dude.
And that feeling is scary, dog.
Well, you know, I told you we've talked about the house, you know, on Southeast Alpine. You know, we're just like, dude, I know there's something here, you know.
Dog.
But us waiting for nothing, dog. But at the same time, you can't risk your family, dog. If you got a family,
I ain't gonna lie.
Like, this dude is just him and his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
probably
I'm
would've
saying.
punched her, dog.
There's no kids. It's just y'all two, dog. And she's doing stuff like that. I don't. To me, that's what I think. I think she's possessed by something.
She has to be, dog. You know, in order to be able to grab a glass and just hold it, you know, while her hand's bleeding, and you know that.
Yeah, exactly.
No
or maybe
pain.
I didn't even look at it from this perspective. What if he married a serial killer? A world famous serial killer who hasn't been exposed yet. He just didn't know. Maybe she's hid it for so long, like
a Black Widow type.
You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want to go that far because, you know, even the Black Widow gets caught because after your second or third husband that
pops
mysteriously,
up dead.
mysteriously, he dead and gone.
Like, man, everybody she dates dies.
You know, eventually you're gonna get caught. You know, but
yeah. Maybe we need to look at what she be doing.
She seems more, like you said, possessed from an entity that can't nobody control right now, or especially him. Well, his brother either.
Oh yeah,
you know, he was gone.
Boy, she lunged down the stairs and tackled
this
him.
This dude jumped like that little kid on the TikTok where he gets so scared. It's like he flew down the stairs. You know, he like. I'm sure that's what this
like
dude
he just
is,
glided.
But at the same time, she caught him like with no effort.
I'm telling you, dog.
That's a
something's got her, dog. It's almost like Paranormal Activity. Remember the very first one? That's kind of what it reminds me of. Do you remember the first one, dog? Dog.
What's it remind?
It's the home footage. Dude, it was crazy. It was a big movie. It was the couple that had moved into that house, and he set up security cameras all around the house, and slowly, like his wife was getting dragged off the bed, and then one night, bro, boom, she gets dragged all the way to the room.
Yeah, I remember.
Dog,
you know,
that gives me chills.
That's the thing that we enjoy, man. But at the same time,
it's fun to watch, but being in that position,
even watching videos, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or whatever. You won't believe what you just saw.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and when you get the chill, dog, that's not a made up video. I think that's a legit video.
Yeah, like that's some real stuff.
I'm
dog.
like, man, you know, like sometimes, you know, you see like a cross will flip upside down, and like in every movie that happens in every movie. I'm not saying that's not scary, but that's stuff that we can. All you gotta do is just maneuver a little bit, and it's gonna
put it back
eventually
normal.
fall. You know.
You
know. But when you have video of like a little kid, you know, talking to somebody, dog.
That was another thing too, man. Like another story I had. It was between this one and another story, and the other one was kind of like that too, bro. About an imaginary friend.
You know what? We had a discussion at work. You know, I got the people that I work with. Her name's Sophia, and her husband's Jose. And she's like, "Did you have an imaginary friend?" I said, "Are you ridiculous? We're Mexicans. Who does that?" Well, I've wondered when people say, you know, I have an imaginary friend. You know, I know your son said it before, but is there somebody, or is it just?
See, that's what scares me.
You know, because you don't know.
Like.
You don't know. I mean, when you walk in the room and your son's talking
to somebody else,
like having a conversation.
Oh, dog.
You know, I can understand. Like, hey, you know, you watching a movie. No, don't run, whatever,
Like
but
just talking to yourself
but just
is
having
different.
a conversation.
When you're talking to somebody, like they acknowledge them as a person, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about, like they see them. Like, oh, you don't see him? He's right there. No, nobody's there. You better quit.
That's crazy, right? Because,
that's scary, dog.
I mean, we didn't have imaginary friends, We have friends, You had friends,
Oh yeah.
So we had no reason. You had brothers. I had brothers and a sister. When people say, well, I had an imaginary friend, I'm like, well, you're a single child? An only child, I mean? But you didn't have nobody to play with. And it's not always that point because sometimes they have gaps.
Yeah, like children. Yeah. Me and my brother like 10 years. Yeah, like 10 years apart or whatever. Yeah.
Well, look at Jade. Brandy and Matthew are 20-something years apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, different moms and stuff, but
still, they didn't grow up together.
Right. So, like him having an imaginary friend, be like, well, I didn't have nobody to talk to. I had to make something up.
Yeah, maybe that was some way of coping.
But that's not the case with my son. It's not. I'm just using him as an example.
But like you said, it only goes so far. Maybe you have an imaginary friend, but then you be talking to them or they'll save a seat you seen the movie.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can see people, man. They I at work I have my butt in and I'm jamming and you know how I am, dog. I sing out loud. I don't care if I can sing or I can't sing. I still sing songs that I know and songs that I don't know. I'll change the words, and people really know. What are you jamming to, or what are you saying? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. We talk to ourselves, because hey, calm down, it's woosah, because you have to,
Yeah.
But that's not the same as having an imaginary friend where you can visually see a person you're trying to communicate with.
Because they see him. Oh, you don't see him yet? He's right there. Like, dog, there's a movie about that.
I'm glad my children never told me
There's a movie, I can't remember what movie it was, but he had an imaginary friend, and they're like, well, he says that he don't like you. Like, what?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, dog.
What?
I'm glad my children never had an imaginary friend or somebody, I mean, and like I've always said, nephew, stuff that we talk about, like this story, is fiction, or is it?
I don't know. This didn't say if it was.
I mean, because has things happen? Different subject, same idea. Something happened in a small town. Boom, boom, boom. Months later, a month and a half later, somebody totally writes a script similar to what happened.
Yeah.
So could that be the same thing here? It's like
they heard
the story about this, and then they say, well, you know what, I can make it longer, change it, of course, change names.
Yeah, make it more scary.
And make it more scarier. But possession is something that we believe in because, we believe in the spirits.
Yeah, we believe in the spirit realm, you know what I mean?
So
they're looking for vessels to... look at it, dog.
And you also know that I say that we're in purgatory here on earth. And in purgatory you can you're walking around as an empty vessel. What makes you think somebody can just enter your body and make you do things? Because I wonder a lot of times, nephew, when people commit gruesome crimes.
Yeah.
Do they know? Or are they possessed?
It could be like
and they're like, man, I don't know what I just did.
Exactly. So we remember we covered a serial killer one time.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was, man, but he said that he would black out and that he wouldn't remember what he would do until the next day. Like what the hell did I do last night?
I've seen an episode like that on SVU. I've seen an episode where he was he was a rapist. He's like, I don't remember raping him. Of course you do, But so that's what I'm saying.
That's why I have a theory, bro. That's why, and you know how I am, bro. but that's why I have a theory about alcohol. That's why I have a theory about alcohol, about drinking. See, most people would disagree with me.
But why do you think they call them spirits?
Why do you think it's called spirits?
That's what I said. Why do you think it's called spirits?
Anything that can take over your mind and make you do things that you don't remember doing, to me, is a form of possession.
It has to be.
When you overindulge in alcohol, it takes over your mind, and you're like, a lot of times people be like, I don't even know how I got home. Or you weren't in control of your body. That means you were possessed.
You were possessed,
by the spirits of alcohol.
How did you get home anyways?
Exactly, dog.
I remember how I got home. Well, somebody drove you. Well, I drove myself. My car's parked there. I don't just remember getting home.
Like, nah, somebody got you home.
That's
dog.
why it's called spirit.
That's what I believe in, dog. You know what I'm saying?
As marijuana, anything that gets you out of your mind.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing with marijuana, it doesn't.
Well, you don't black out marijuana.
You don't black out. You don't. Yeah. You still function.
Yeah.
Alcohol will completely. It'll make you tired.
Yeah, no, but you're right.
It'll completely black you out. Like
alcohol will, because
like you lose memory, dog. The only thing that I can think of that will make you do that is when your spirit suppresses itself and something else takes over. That's why you have no memory. That's what I believe, dog. But I could be wrong. No,
I mean that's a good theory. I mean, I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, that's why alcohol is called spirits, not beer. But even beer can do the same thing.
Yeah, it's
as
alcohol.
As alcohol. I mean, it has alcohol in it, but like liquor.
I just a random theory that I.
You're right. Was she a drinker? And because there's lots of undercover alcoholics, dog.
Yeah, that you
I didn't
probably
think it was a thing.
Oh yeah,
but there's people that function.
Yeah, dog, high functioning alcoholics. I explained that to my brother the other day. We're watching a movie and it was talking about this detective. Yeah. It was the beekeeper.
Oh, okay.
And she was pouring coffee, and she would pour liquor in her coffee. I told her, see, dog, that's one of those people who have to function on alcohol, dog. They put in their coffee, because they're hiding it, but they use it all day. They're drinking. You wouldn't even tell. You think he's just drinking coffee.
Yep. They have mints and they have mouthwash. I mean, it's just constant.
Dog.
It's insane, nephew.
It's wild,
but
this story was
why
crazy.
Are we on the same page? I'm going to say the same thing, man. We always do that, people. I guess that's why Javi and I are just
we locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in. But the story was amazing, dog. Is because even though it's supposed to be fiction, I mean, somebody has. I wish I could write stories like that. I can't.
Yeah, dog. I
can do a little bit of poetry in there, but to write a story like that
and make you feel, that's a special skill, dog. For real.
When you hear me, I'm like, oh shit, because you would expect it in the movie.
Like you can see it.
You can see
it's
it because
so well
you see
worded.
it in the movie.
Yeah.
But in a book, like Stephen King's my favorite. That.
Oh yeah. Facts.
I had a book and I lost it. Of short stories that he wrote while he was in college.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Man, it was
he's a beast, bro.
Okay, the Mist that came out in theaters,
is not
compared to the book.
Oh yeah, it's always like that, bro. You know that. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and
even now when I think about the Mist, I get chills. That's how good that story was.
Yeah, bro. Like that's usually how it goes.
Yeah,
like I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
Yeah,
as well as they did, bro. The movies are very close to the book, dog.
Really?
Like they're good, but there's so much more the book has. Many more details that the book has.
I watched a movie called Flowers in the Attic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a good movie.
But the book is
way more. But the book is like intense. Like, wow, the grandma was really, really sick in the head.
It takes it to the extreme.
To the extreme, Such as this lady, she took that to the extreme with her husband.
Hide and seek.
As a joke. We thought it was a joke, but she probably couldn't stop anymore, because
something
of the
that took it over.
Yeah. That would be creepy. Maybe you walked home, if you got home and your wife is just laying in bed, just smiling at you, giggling.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I'm gonna shut the door and leave.
If she's like, get up, and she just keeps giggling and just looking at you and don't blink, and you're like, what's wrong with you? And she doesn't interact with you.
Yeah. Oh, dog.
Where the kids?
Yeah.
And then she just grins even bigger.
Oh, man, dog. See what I'm saying, dog? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Man, dog. Well, we had a good stopping point, man. We had a good episode, man.
I like the story. I really, when you told me we're probably going to do a creepypasta, which was really Reddit, because I do like Reddit, man. Reddit has
some good stories.
Yeah. I wasn't know what to expect, and I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
man.
this was a good story, dog. Man, before we get out of here, man, is there anything else you would like to tell the people, man?
Hey, just thank y'all for keeping up with this.
Yes, sir.
Javi was explaining to me the other day that somebody, one of the people you never met in your life.
At work. Yeah, I never met him before.
Started asking about your podcast because
he's like, man, I saw you on the podcast. I followed it. I've been binge watching it. Like,
hey, thank y'all for that. Crazy. So today, I was telling Javi today, I was at work and I was on the forklift. I was outside moving some stuff, and this truck driver, he stopped and he got off. He had to do some stuff, I guess, to his truck or whatever. And he's like, "Hey, you got that podcast?" And I'm like, "What? Thank you for watching."
Yeah,
that's amazing, people. That's why we do it. We enjoy the conversation. Man. Always, we've always had this conversation, but to make people realize and smile with us and say
have
y'all
a good
are funny,
Yeah.
Hey, thank y'all so much.
Yeah, that means the world to us, man. Just y'all hanging out with us and having a good time.
Yeah.
It makes us feel like we're doing something, man. Yeah. And it's really special to me and Unc. So we want to say
Spotify, thank you, because we're almost there, 1,000.
Yeah, we're almost at 1,000 downloads, y'all. So y'all keep downloading, y'all keep tapping in.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to miss another episode, man. We got exciting content coming. Yeah. So y'all stay tuned, man.
We've got lots of things planned.
Yes, we got a lot.
I'm hoping that God's good to us,
Oh, yeah, he is always.
Always.
That's where we are now, man. And so, y'all stay tuned, man. We got so much exciting content coming out. A lot of things that we're about to start doing. So, man, y'all stay tuned with us. And thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in to another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. And in 2 weeks from now,
peace.
Peace.